Good afternoon, Bina.
Good afternoon, Julie. It's been a long time.
It's been a long time. We have not done HR recruitment bullets for 6 weeks, I think. It's normally monthly. So welcome everybody.
I need to say something. Happy New Year to you.
Oh, Happy New Year to you. We just got it in the end of January.
Yeah, but we haven't met, have we? So
No.
When you meet for the first time, of course.
It's still relevant. It is still January. So
yeah.
Welcome everybody to Recruitment and HR Bullets today. It's Friday the 29th of January, and we will be back doing once a month recordings on HR and recruitment updates with current subjects as it stands. And today we're going to talk about video interviewing, which is very, very up there in terms of subject matter at the moment, and follow on for on the employment side, offer letters and contracts, and some really strong reminders for clients. So I'm going to kick off today with the video interviewing, and these 3 points first are going to be towards candidates and job seekers, and then I'm going to issue 3 points for clients as well. So hopefully the audience is both. So the first point I'd like to make on candidates is, first of all, very, very basic. It might sound silly, but make sure all your IT is working and do a test. Please, please. I'm not saying it for the sake of it. I have got experience that people are not doing that. So just make sure it's all good. That's the first thing. Allowances will be made for video interviews from employers interviewing candidates, but I do think you need to give yourself that best chance. Background. That's the next big one for me. So background, as in this background, normally I would have a white screen, but I haven't got it up today. And I just think as long as it's an uncluttered background and people can see you, that's all that matters. Definitely no piles of ironing or curtains sort of strewn across the back. I've video interviewed some people over the last few weeks, and I've kind of said, do you think you can open your curtains or close them, or just make them a little bit kind of neater, and the light sort of coming in from one side as well. So it's really, really important to make sure if you're holding an interview, then definitely make sure it looks good, so that all they're looking at is your face. My next good point that's really important is, and I know it's difficult for people that have not done interviews before, is to look straight at the camera. So I haven't got this, maybe I should have it as well. But to have sort of stickers at the camera where you've got arrows so that you're actually talking to the camera. It's really difficult because, for me, we're at level, but it needs to be a little bit higher so that you're talking and you're looking at somebody. Because when you're looking like that, you're not actually looking in the camera. So put some arrows.
Not like that.
Put some arrows next to the little camera on your laptop, and I think it will remind you to be looking into there. And again, I say this in all my interview preparation, webinars and coaching, is to make sure you prepare, just like it's going to be face to face, because you're still going to be asked all the same questions, your strengths, your weaknesses, why you should be good for the job. But make sure you have your questions prepared. It's okay to have them written down, your questions for an employer, because it shows that you're actually interested, you've taken time out to write questions, etc. So but I just think you do need to be prepared and practice, because it'll just make you more confident. So if any candidates have got specific questions, and please feel free to link in with me, ask me a question, call me. Definitely leave a message though, don't put the phone down, and I will come back to you. So yeah, a lot of experience on the video interviewing with candidates at the moment. It's going well, and obviously companies are turning to that. Do you have anything to add on that one for the candidates, Bina?
On interviews, I would say that people do fidget quite a lot on screen.
Yes.
And if it's just a natural meeting, then it's fine. But if you're actually being interviewed, then you have to show that you're actually listening and you're interested, and your body language should be such that it's all you're tuned in to what's happening and you're focused and
Yeah.
concentrating. Yeah. So that is really, really important. And the other thing I would say is people sometimes mumble. And I've seen that from quite a lot of people where they think that they've got the microphone quite loud. And so they kind of talk in the normal kind of low volume speech. And unfortunately, quite often it doesn't get picked up. So, either you speak very fast or you speak very low or you speak very softly. And I think that for interviews, definitely you want to be heard. So just again, what you said was, practice, 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 and to check the equipment and everything else. Check how you sound when you're talking at your normal speed, and then check again how it would come across if you either spoke a little bit louder or more clearer. That's what I would say.
Valid point. And to practice, I would just call a parent, call a friend, and literally, check it out with them. So it just makes you feel so much more confident and relaxed. It is difficult for anyone that hasn't done a video interview, but I really think you should embrace it, try and practice, because it's not going away at all. So any tips we can give you, please do ask.
Yeah, and I think that now that all of us are using Zoom, or some kind of platform, online platform to talk to people, and I know that a lot of people now, even for their personal use, they're talking to families across UK or wherever people are, in isolation or they can't actually meet. They are all, using Zoom, and they did over Christmas and whatever.
Yeah.
At weekends they do that. So in a way, a lot of people are getting more used to this kind of environment. So I think that it would be a lot more easier in a way to just be mindful about that and make sure that you have done practicing and just listen to how you sound, because I've done interviews, as you know, and last year I did some in December, I think it was, November, December time. And they were young graduates who I was recruiting for a client, and they were all mumbling. They really were mumbling. And I had to say, I'm really sorry. But no, I had to say to them, look, I do need you to slow down a bit because you're talking too fast. And especially when asking them, as my client is asking them some technical questions, half the time I couldn't understand what they were saying because they were going too fast.
Yeah, no, it's really important to get some feedback from an independent person, I think. But obviously it's very different when you're interviewing to obviously being on Zoom with your friends. There's so much to think about, the pressure's on, but also Maya, who I'm mentoring at the moment for this particular job, she's going to do this presentation, and the first set of interviews were actually record yourself and send them back. So oh my God, you really need to practice that many, many, many times, because it's not even a conversation flow. So that was quite difficult when you're talking to camera, but it is required sometimes. But as we both said, Bina, practice does really, really help. So moving on to clients, same applies. Obviously check that all the IT works. So I had that as well with a client who had to abandon because it wasn't working. So I think clients need to check their IT as well to make sure it's all good. And I think for a client, they need to think about whether that candidate has actually ever attended a video interview. And most people are really good about this, but definitely, make allowances, because some haven't, and you wouldn't want to miss out on a great candidate with great skills just because there's a new environment for them. Interviewing via video. It can be quite daunting. We could get them to try and practice, I'm sure. Sending joining instructions in advance, which is what is the standard and obvious. But make sure they've got them. Is there any special requirements to do with hearing, positioning, that kind of thing, adjustments that they need? So, and I think that's a real sort of nice, caring, well-being point to come across. You know, you're a client that cares about their candidates. So I think that goes a long way. And another big thing is, and again, it's obvious, but I really do think clients need to think about it, is make sure you build in extra time for their response. And also, you know, ask them to extend, if you know, try and help them a tiny bit. I know it's harsh if you don't do it first time, then you know that's it. But at the moment, when people are getting used to it, building that extra time. And the last one is more about the follow-up email afterwards. So, you know, at the moment, everyone's stressed. It's a pandemic. No one's getting back to anybody. We'll always, a Jaguar White, always get back to a candidate and give them feedback if they're going for a job, if they're not. And the response is amazing. You, as a client, want to be seen as a client that cares about their staff, that they respect, and they've taken the time. So, you know, definitely respond to them. If you don't have, if a client doesn't have video interviewing, or like at Jaguar White, we have a platform that we would send out questions, get them back for a client, or we can do a two-way interviews and send that to the client with the CV. But also we have a point of contact where they can actually come onto the platform with us as a member. So we send it to them, they look at it, they come back to us with feedback. So we're all in the same platform. So we offer that at Jaguar White. We can take that all away from you. And all you need to do is say, I want to see these two people, because it's always down to two. And we set that up and it's all on one platform. So you don't really need to have anything to invest in terms of new software or anything like that. So at Jaguar White, we can offer the whole 30 and 360 degrees. So that's interview we use, and I definitely recommend anyone that hasn't got it to give it a go with us, of course. So yeah, so once you've chosen, the candidate's done great and the client's chosen somebody, it's really important to get the offer letter and contracts in a timely manner. And I think a really nice reminder, Bina and I was talking about the new laws that came in. Bina's going to extend her advice and experience on that. So over to you, Bina Briggs.
Thank you. Well, I mean, I think it's something, as you just touched on it, that people at the moment, and for whatever reasons, either, you know, they're not getting back to the candidates, or if, say, for instance, a candidate has been unsuccessful, I think it is common courtesy. It doesn't take long to even drop them a line. But more importantly, when you've got somebody who's successful, you really, really want to catch them and hold them to you and get them in as soon as possible, involved with you. And the one thing that you should do, must do, is to put in an offer letter. And that offer letter has to be literally, you know, it should reflect the contract, and the contract should reflect the offer letter. Now, some people might say, well, you know, we gave them the offer letter, so, you know, we can wait for the contract. Unfortunately, now you have to issue the contract, the statement of terms and conditions of employment from day one. So that means that you might as well do both of them at the same time and then push them out. And it is really important to know what you need to say and be very mindful of what you say in your offer letter, because that actually becomes binding. Once you put an offer out to say to, hey, Julie, you know, you got the position for the chief exec of, you know, the MD of Jaguar Recruitment. Now, the fact is, I've said that to you, and so as far as you're concerned, you have got that position. I haven't made any provisos in there or conditions that says subject to checks or references or clearance or security clearances or whatever. Then automatically, as far as you're concerned, that job has been offered and is yours. So you've got to be really, really careful about what you're putting in that offer letter. And then making sure that that reflects in the contract of employment. Those are the two things that I would say that are really important as your follow-up, and do those as soon as possible.
Timing is definitely a big thing, isn't it? I mean, if you take a week to get an offer letter out, that candidate is going to be gone. You know, it's really, really important, and we educate clients, you know, about that. The timing is so important, isn't it?
Yeah, especially, I mean, if you know that you want somebody and you got them, don't waste time. Pick up the phone, ring them up straight away, and say, "We'd like to offer you the position, subject to, or the conditions or whatever it is. How do you feel, or do you need to think it over? And can you let us know by tomorrow, so that we can put in the paperwork in to you, and then we can start the process. So if there are references to be had, or the individual is working, so they've got to give in their notice, etc., etc. But if there are checks to be made, then you have to allow for that. But as soon as you put a letter in, at least you got them halfway there to starting with you. So yeah.
I mean, as part of our service, being at Jaguar White, we would send an offer email anyway, saying the client is offering you this position, just to make sure that they're happy with the salary, that everything that was said. So once they say it, sometimes it saves that client extra admin. So then they can follow straight away. And it's kind of a nice interim support. But I would never sort of say to anyone, leave a job until you've got the contract from the client. But clients I work with are very much on the ball with that, really. Because it goes really well with my ethos. I've written a blog on this video interview, which is going out next week. So yeah, and it's got all of those points for clients and candidates. So that would be good. But yeah, from a call to action for you and I, Bina, and if anybody wants any help with contracts, employment, etc., Bina's your lady. If anyone wants any advice on consultative recruitment, taking that pain away, and really, especially on the video side, managing the whole thing, really just make a difference. So our details are at the bottom, and please just give us a call. Informal chat. We're both chatty, aren't we, Bina? We like to chat.
Certainly
are. Yeah. So I've finished my spiel. Have you finished your spiel, Bina?
I have too, yes.
Oh, it's so great to see you after such a long time, Bina. And end of Feb, that's the last one. We're doing at the end of the last Friday of every month. So you will see us again next month, unless we have something pressing we want to get off our chests.
Yeah, and in the meantime, obviously the pandemic is going on, and furloughing is going on, and Kickstart and everything else is all up there on the government site. So if anybody has any questions, they're all on the Gov UK site. But if not, I'm here, Julie's here. Talk to us and we'll help you out.
Absolutely. Always here to chat. Lovely to see you, Bina. Have a great weekend and see you next time. I'm sure we'll speak in between. Take care. Bye-bye.
See you then. Bye.